Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever you're calling in from. And if you're watching this replay, good day. My name is Tom Truong. I have the pleasure of hosting our weekly Big Win Wednesday that happens every week. And Big Win Wednesday is a 3-part training session. The first part is where we have a real estate sales rock star who goes on for the first 45 minutes or so, and they teach you how they're crushing the real estate business. They teach you a technique, and they show you exactly how they do it. Okay, today we have Mr. Scott Ziegler. Scott is a real estate sales rock star. He's here with us at eXp Realty. Scott also has achieved a status in our organization called the icon. And for those who don't understand quickly, and what an icon is an icon is an agent who starts off each and every anniversary year at 80% commission. And then when they sell about $80,000 in gross commission income, that equates to about $3.2 million in sales volume in a 2.5% market, and a 2.7 sales volume in a 3% market. They generate $80,000 in commissions. They pay the company 20%, which is $16,000. And then they, from that point on until the anniversary date resets, earn 100% commission minus a $250 transaction fee. Once they cap and they go to 100%, they need to close a full 20 more transactions before the anniversary date resets. And Scott Ziegler is that agent who's crushing it. And when he hits icon, closing another 20 after capping, he gets the entire $16,000 back that he paid into the cap back in company stock. And that stock is spread out over a 3-year vesting period. Scott Ziegler, say hello and tell us about yourself. And the floor is yours, my man. Thank you for being on, and thank you for sharing with all of us.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, Scott Ziegler. January, February, April 1 will be 2 full years with eXp. Iconed both years. My plan is to do it for a 3rd year. I'm from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. That's our biggest and baddest landmark behind us. And today we're going to be discussing for sale by owners. And I think there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation about for sale by owners and how mean they are and how nasty they are and how hard they are. But really, like anything in our business, if we got a plan and a script, they're quite easy to handle. So what I'm going to do is I have as part of my icon training through the eXp world, I have a for sale by owner presentation, which I'll go through, and then and I'm going to go through it maybe just a little bit quicker, because I know most of us on here are we're not necessarily brand new agents. You'll be able to pick this up pretty quick, because I want to leave time for some live calls. I'm going to call and set myself an appointment live with you guys on the phone, just so that you can see. We can do role play, but role play never does it justice, because it just doesn't. And so we'll do some live calls. I'll set a couple appointments or one appointment, and you can see exactly how it goes down. And Tom, you can still see this?
I can see. Course overview, introduction to for sale by owners.
Great. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about quickly. Just a bit of background on why it got started in for sale by owners, why you should be calling them. I'm going to run through the script fairly quickly, because there's actually not much there. I'm going to do the do's and don'ts. I'm going to break down the script. I'll go back and break down the script a little bit slower. And then I'll go over the 2 or 3 objections, the only 2 or 3 you're going to get. And then instead of role play, we will go right into some live calls.
That is awesome, man. I can't wait. Love it.
So basically, I mean, when I first got started, it was the 16, 17 years ago, it was old school, right? Pick up a phone book, knock on some doors, call for some for sale by owners. And so I started calling them. And why I think you should be calling them is because they are not nearly as many agents call them as you think, because it's scary and it's hard. And I think you should be calling them because it is a great source of listing income. And we all want listings, right?
We sure do.
So here's the script. And again, I'm going to go through it kind of quickly, but I'm going to come back and break it down for you. So you found your for sale by owner and you pick up the phone, hi Tom, it's Scott here with eXp Realty calling about the house you have for sale on Main Street. Is it still for sale? And most of the time they're going to say yes. And I'm like, great. Hey, question for you, Tom. Would you be open to the possibility of paying a buyer's commission if we were to refer a buyer to you? And most of the time, the answer is yes. There's really only two objections I get here, and I will cover those in a minute. So I've asked them if they're open to paying a buyer's commission if I refer a buyer to them. Hey, thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. I guess the follow-up question I have for you then is, just so that I can speak with knowledge on your home to any buyers I'm working with, or even agents in my office that have buyers, would you be offended if I were to schedule an appointment with you to pop by and just have a quick look at your home? I asked them if they'd be offended because no, it's not enough. They basically have to say, no, I wouldn't be offended. One possible objection there, get to that in a second. Hey, great. Hey, I appreciate that, Tom. What type of schedule do you keep? Do you work 9 to 5, or do you have some time during the day that I could pop by for a quick 10-minute preview? And I always tell people at this point, you're going to have to use sort of your natural sales skills to set up that showing. Like, well, I work till 5, but Tuesdays I'm off at noon. I could, so you just, at that point, you're just trying to find a time. And we should all be able to do that. And in brackets there, I have, I'm going to be in the area anyways. I really like this one. If they say, well, I do, come home over the lunch hour. Well, Tom, I'm going to be in the area anyways tomorrow, right around lunchtime. Why don't I pop by at 5 after 12 and I'll be out of your hair by 20 after? So I'm going to be in the area anyways, kind of lets everybody off the hook. Hey, I'm going to be over there anyways. Why don't I just pop by? And so, now I've asked them if they're willing to pay a commission. They are. I've asked them if I can see their house. They said yes. I now have an appointment for tomorrow at noon. And before I let them go, hey, Tom, just a couple of quick questions before I let you go. When you sell this home, these qualifying questions, you're all going to know them. They're all old school Mike Ferry stuff, right? Hey, when you sell this home, where are you headed to next? Like, why are you moving, Tom? And now all I'm trying to do is figure out the motivation. Hey, Scott, we're just testing the market. We don't have to move. I just thought I'd throw it up there. Okay, low motivation, right? Hey, my wife got job transferred. The wife and kid has already been gone 6 months. I really need to get this thing sold. High motivation. Hey, excellent. Well, how soon do you have to be there? Like, in other words, Tom, if you could wave a magic wand, when would you like to be when would you like to move to when do you have to have this sold by? Now I'm just trying to figure out a little bit of the urgency and the timeline that I'm working with here. If you don't mind me asking, Tom, how did you arrive at the price that you set on your home? Did you happen to have an agent come in and help you price it? Or did you just look in the neighborhood and see what else was for sale? Here's where they're going to tell me if there's another agent involved. Hey, we had 2 agents come over and give us an evaluation. Or a lot of times you hear, we've been keeping an eye on the market for the last several months. So I'm just trying to figure out if there's another agent's nose poking around my business here. And then, Tom, the decision for you to sell privately. Have you had a bad experience with real estate in the past, or is it simply just dollars and cents? And here I'm going to get the real objection. Well, we're trying to save the commission. And then the last question is, hey, Tom, last question for you here. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I just don't want to step on another agent's toes. So if you were to list the home, do you have an agent that you typically list with? And here's where I'm going to find out that their brother-in-law is an agent, or that there's the agent that sold them the home is still in the picture, or all that other kind of stuff. So all I'm trying to really do here with these qualifying questions is, if they have low motivation, low urgency, they've had 3 or 4 agents over, and their brother-in-law is an agent, I'm probably not going to go on this preview. I'm probably going to find a way out, or I'm just, going to find a way to get out of it. And if it's high motivation, high urgency, I'm going to move forward with it. Okay, so now I have a preview set for tomorrow at noon. I've got my background information, and I walk up to the house, knock, 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 and I walk in the front door. My main objective here is simply to build rapport. Of the 10 other agents that called them, I'm the only one that's now been inside their house, because the rest of them don't do this approach. They just call and try and list the home, or they have some BS. I'm just doing a survey of all the for sale by owners. So when you get into that house, you're there for a preview. It's not a listing presentation. Your main objective is to build rapport. Be nice, be personable, smile, use flattery. Hey, Tom, I love what you guys have done with this living room. Oh, did you guys redo the kitchen recently? This isn't original. Oh, who decorated, this living room? I love what you've done with the basement. I mean, you're kind of, you're using flattery to get them to basically to win them over. While I'm walking through the house, I oftentimes casually re-ask the requalifying questions. And Tom, you said that you guys were moving to California, right? Oh, that's right, right. And because your wife's already there, isn't she? Yeah, she's there. Yeah, okay, good, good. And so I just, again, I'm just building rapport. I'm just previewing the home. It's quick. It's 10, it's 15 minutes. If the seller chooses to talk my ear off, I'll talk. If he doesn't, it'll be quick. I mean, you just kind of again roll with the punches in that scenario. So now we walk through the home. I've previewed the home. We get back to the door. Hey, Tom, thanks so much for taking a few minutes to tour me around your home. Hey, just a quick question for you. If 2 or 3 weeks goes by and I'm not able to source a buyer for your property, with your permission, would you mind if I followed up with a quick phone call just to see how things are going? 100% of the time they say yes. I have 99.9 on the screen. Hey, thanks, Tom. I know you get a lot of calls from agents, and I just wanted to get your permission before I called you again. You've now just elevated yourself significantly above all the other agents that have called this guy, who I lovingly refer to as the knuckleheads. Believe it or not, all those other agents are actually helping you do your job, because you are elevating yourself as a professional agent here where they are not. So I walk out the door. The very next day, he gets another phone call from me. 1 minute maximum, unless they talk longer. Hey, Tom, it's Scott here with EXP. I was over at your house yesterday. Oh, yeah, Scott, I remember. Hey, I just wanted to give you a quick follow-up call, simply just to thank you for taking the time out of your day to meet with me and show me your home. It's such a nice home, Tom, and I know one way or another that home is going to sell. Hey, thanks, Scott. I really appreciate you coming by. Hey, Tom, as mentioned, if I see it still for sale in the next couple of weeks, I'll definitely reach out to you, and vice versa. I mean, if you need anything from me, if you get an offer on the home and maybe you're not quite sure how to close it, or maybe a buyer's asking for something weird, there's never a charge for a phone call. Just reach out to me. I'm happy to help. All right, thanks, Scott. Appreciate that. All right, Tom, have a good day. Talk to you later. Done. All I did was call him and thank him for his time. You can take it to another step, and you could actually then send him a card in the mail, or drop a card in his mailbox. That's another level. But again, it's time consuming, depending if you're mailing it or you're driving across town to drop it again. So 2 weeks goes by, and I'm now trying to close for the appointment. I'll call him up, just casual conversation. Hey, Tom, how have things gone over the last couple of weeks? Any offers, any low balls? And again, I just see where the conversation goes. At that point, it's a quick minute of chit chat. Hey, we had an open house. There was nobody. Oh, we've had a few showings. No, we haven't had any offers. And then I try and close. Well, Tom, listen, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I was just wondering, would you be open to the possibility of meeting with me, say for even 15 minutes, so I could show you what I could do to get this home on the market for you and get it sold? The first time you call, depending on their motivation, I'll just be honest, oftentimes the answer is no here. Well, we were going to do another open house next weekend, and we wanted to give it a couple more weeks. Very, very common, question. Hey, Tom, no problem. Actually, before I go there, oftentimes I'll try it just a quick second close. But hey, no problem, Tom. I often find that sellers really only want to know 3 things: what I'll list the home for, what I think it will sell for, and exactly what I'll do to get it sold. So that's the reason why I wanted to meet with you. I mean, I have some time this week. If you could make a few minutes for me, yeah, okay, you can come by. Or no, we want to do this open house. Don't push at that point. Hey, great. Well, why don't I do this, Tom? Why don't I put you back on my calendar? I'll touch base in a couple weeks and just see how things are going. Is that okay with you? Yeah, no, please call me back. Now you're in a rinse and repeat. Every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, he gets this exact same phone call. A couple of do's and don'ts here. Be positive, be friendly, be punctual and agreeable. If you're going to be there at 2, knock on the door at 5 minutes to 2, not 5 after. And always be respectful. You would be surprised at how many agents have condescendingly called these for sale by owners. Oh, Tom, you're never going to get it sold by yourself. Oh, that's way too much money. As soon as they get any pushback, they get defensive. Be confident and assertive. Call back when you say you're going to call back. And you got to have a bit of a thick skin. I'll tell you how many times somebody said, Scott, I would never pay that much. I would never list my house. That commission's way too much. You know what I say? You're right, Tom. It is a lot of money, isn't it? Scott, you agents don't do anything to sell houses. I can't believe there's even a need for real estate agents. You know what, Tom? Some days I agree with you. There really aren't, there really are some bad apples out there, aren't they? Scott, you are one of the ugliest real estate agents that ever called me. It's like, you know what, Tom? I don't even disagree with you on that one. I looked a lot better when I had hair. Like you just got
I had a lot more hair before you keep saying no to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just, if they say, I don't think it's worth the money, and you're like, wow, I've sold 23 homes and I can tell you right now that an agent does this and an agent, you're going to lose. Like you're just going to lose. Whatever they say to you, you just be agreeable. I think it's too much money. I agree. It is a lot of money. I think the market's going to be better next week. You know what? You're right. The market could be better next week. Always just be agreeable and just move on to the next question or the next point. And here's some don'ts. Don't ever lie to them because for sale by owners are smarter than you think. Never show up to the house with a listing presentation. This is probably the biggest faux pas. You have set a preview to see their house on behalf of some buyers that you may have or agents in your office might have. If you roll in there, try and sit them at the table for a listing presentation, you're likely to get run right out the door. So never do that. It doesn't mean that you can't have that information in the back of your mind. And I've had for sale by owners sit me down at the table and be like, hey, you want to sit down for a few minutes? Yeah, sure. I can stay for a few minutes. And sometimes you get into it, but remember, that's not why you're there. You're not there to list the house. You're not there to give them a presentation. It's a preview only. So don't bait and switch them. Never argue with them, because even if you do win, you're going to lose. And never be condescending or conceited. Don't try and make them think that you're some big bad real estate agent. They don't like that. You're just be as nice as you possibly can. So here are the 3 objections you're going to get, if you get any at all. Hey, Tom, would you be open to the possibility of paying a buyer's commission if we refer a buyer to you? Well, do you have a buyer? Hey, great question. At this time, I'm not working with anybody specifically for your home, but I know that there's plenty of agents in my office that have buyers that have buyers for a home like yours. And as you know, we are one of the largest companies in the city, and there isn't a lot of inventory in the market right now. So I think that, previewing your home would be a good opportunity to get in and just see what it's like. Sorry, I went off script there. I part of Tom's face was covering my script. But anyways, you don't want to lie to them. You just want to say, hey, I'm not working with anybody specific. There's agents in my offers that are. And one thing I often say too is, if your home was on the market, Tom, it's such a nice home from the pictures here, I would just come and preview it. But because it's not, I kind of have to go through you anyways. So that's why I always like to get into a home, make sure I see exactly what it's like. And that way I'm not wasting your time in the future. Does that make sense? So that's really, do you have a buyer is the one objection. Would you be open to the possibility of paying a buyer's commission if I refer a buyer to you? Yeah, well, what's the commission? Hey, great question, Tom. I often put it this way. It's got to be fair for me and fair for you, but more importantly, it has to make sense to your bottom line, right? I mean, you have to walk away with a certain amount of money for this to make sense for you. And I'm sure we can work something out. Does that make sense? 50% of the time, they're going to say, yeah, that makes sense. The other 50% of the time, they're going to push you for a number. And we're all trained as real estate agents not to get into commission on the phone. sometimes you don't have a choice. Because some of them will not move from this point. No matter what you say, they're like, well, okay, but how much? Well, okay, well, what's the percentage? So I usually just give them a very, very generic, I'm trying to move past this one as quick as I can. Well, Tom, as you know, when you list a home, that commission is usually split in half, right? The agent that lists the home gets 50%, and the agent that sells the home gets 50%. And I always try to be fair and not greedy. So I usually try and negotiate that 50% that's only due to the buyer's agent anyways. So in this case, let's say the commission's $5,000. Now, I know what you're thinking. My commission's more than $5,000. It doesn't matter. You're just giving them an example to move past this question. Let's just say the commission's $5,000. And Tom, you're asking $450 for the house. If we bring you a full price offer with a $5,000 commission built into it, you're going to walk away with $445,000. So that's an example of how the buyer commission works. Does that make sense? And oftentimes they'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. And then as soon as you get any agreement at all, I just move right on. Great. Well, the follow-up question I have for you then, Tom, I try not to dwell here as much as I can. Okay, so I went through that real quick. I just want to go back and start over. What I can't see oh, we got time. Okay. So basically, again, you call, introduce yourself, ask if the house is still for sale. I like this question here. Would you be open to the possibility of paying a buyer's commission? And I stress certain words. Would you be open to the possibility of paying a buyer's commission if we were to refer a buyer to you? And if, again, of course, they say yes. Hey, I appreciate that. I guess the follow-up question for you is, just so that I can speak with knowledge on your home to any buyers I'm working with or agents in my office that have buyers, would you be offended if I were to schedule an appointment with you and pop by and have a quick look at the home? So I kind of stress, I overstress them in this example, but I do stress those a little bit, just to emphasize those points. And then I actually don't know that I need to go through this again. I went pretty quick, and I can send out the the stuff. So before we get to calls, does anybody have any questions? Do you have any questions, Tom?
No questions. You got plenty of time, Scott. You're only 24 minutes into it, so you got another 36 minutes to go. So do with the time as you please.
Well, maybe I'll just open it up for questions. I mean, I'm going to make some calls, but maybe if anybody needs some clarification on anything first, since we have the time, and then I'll make some calls. So that open up your mics or whatever you want to do.
I love it. All right, guys, that's it. Scott just gave you his playbook, his script, his on how to call for sell by owners. And this guy sells a lot of real estate. For those latecomers who are coming in now, Scott Ziegler is our icon agent here at eXp Realty. Scott, how many deals did you sell last year?
I did 53 last year.
53 transactions. He's not just a for sale by owner agent, but this is one of the tools that he uses to generate closings. All right. So this guy sells 50 plus houses a year. He's teaching us about calling for sale by owners, booking appointments, going through the presentation. So, going through the house and all that stuff. Who's got questions? Go ahead and type them in the chat, or you can easily open up your mic and ask the question in the chat. Can we get a copy? What we're going to do is, this is being recorded. As you can see, it will get edited. And then it will be posted on the YouTube channel called Big Win Wednesday. Hopefully Scott will give you his handle on social media. We're going to edit this for Scott as well, and then he'll have it on his social media channel as well, so you can reach out to him. Hopefully, if you're all agents and you got a referral in Saskatchewan, Canada, you give him a call. All right. Questions, everybody, go.
Go ahead, Nikki.
Okay, so I just have a question about the commission, because this is coming, right? So when you win them over, it sounds like you're winning them over all the time. 53 deals is impressive. How do you get back to it when you've had the discussion with them that, you're essentially starting the conversation that you're not going to take a lot of commission. So when you get to the point where you actually get the listing, how do you overcome that? You know, the whole reason they wanted to list FSBO in the first place was not to pay those commissions. How do you get to the point where you're actually getting paid, number one? And number two, are you having to take discounts to do that because they're FSBO, or what does that look like for you?
I rarely discount. I mean, if you're ever in a position where it is what it is, sometimes you do it, but I try very hard not to. I use that as an example, and I've never had a for sale by owner come back and say, wait a second, you said it was $5,000. Because when you get to the listing table, you're obviously, it's a full listing. It's a list, the seller side and buyer side, right? So, but it's a valid question because commission is something that you have to overcome. And by the time a for sale by owner is actually ready to list their home, they've come to the conclusion that it's likely their only option. There are a couple of cons with the for sale by owner strategy. One, they don't make the best past clients. I mean, think about it this way. They didn't want to use an agent in the first place. They'll likely try FSBO again. They're probably not going to refer you as much business. I kind of joke, like, by the time they list with you, it's almost out of spite. It's almost like, frick, I tried to sell this place myself. I couldn't do it. Fine, Scott, you list it then. They're not, I shouldn't say like they're not like they're unhappy, but they just, they're not that client that was referred to you by your auntie, and they've watched all your videos and they can't wait to work with you, right? So it's a little bit of a different relationship. But that being said, everybody's different. You do get the odd for sale by owner that they just become great clients, because once you show them the value and you get their home sold, they're happy. But those true cheapskates, they don't make the best clients. Does that make sense?
Yes, for sure. Unfortunately, I have to do a lot of commission giving in my world. I'm in Austin. It's really competitive here. So
yeah,
there's a lot of discounts.
Yeah, and I think, not to get off topic, but there's ways and scripts around that. I mean, I think maybe it's just something that you and your team need to maybe do a real blitz on the objections to that. And you know what, I've heard different, like, if you get a good client and that in the next 10 years you're going to get a referral a year and a repeat deal out of them, maybe the discount isn't the end of the world. I know agents that will totally walk away if they have to discount, and you could be leaving future business on the table. You could be leaving a double end. You get a listing, you could pick up 3 buyers. So not that I ever recommend cutting, but if you have to, sometimes it is what it is, right? I mean, small part of the pie is better than no pie, and I like pie.
Exactly right. I agree.
Okay.
Got to get it done.
Any other questions?
Hey, Scott, this is Jack.
Hey, Jack.
From a follow-up perspective, like, how, if you make your first contact, and I'm just guessing if it's a phone conversation, and they say no, how far out would you go for your next contact and your third contact, that type of follow-up?
Well, if you go for the preview strategy like I'm doing, you get very few no's. I would say 1 in 20. If you're ever going to get a no, they'll sometimes say, listen, all the pictures are online. You don't need to come unless you have a buyer. A lot of times the no's revolve around, well, if you want to bring me a buyer, you can come, but if you just want to come and look at it, then no. And you just try your best to get in the door. And if you can't, then you just move on. But if I find the major no's come if you're just trying to get a listing. Hey, I'm just calling to see if I can get a listing. That's where you're going to get the no. But you're not calling for a listing. You're just simply calling to see if they're open to working with you, if you have a buyer and the numbers make sense. And they usually say yes. And then you're just coming to see the home, and they appreciate that because no other agents are coming to see it. In fact, I can't tell you how many times I've heard a FSBO say to me, Scott, you're the only agent that actually took time to come and see my house. That means a lot to them. I'm honest to goodness, I hear that a lot. And I would say 25% of the time they call me back. All of a sudden, 2 weeks later, it's like, Hey Scott, it's Jack here, 123 Main Street. We were thinking maybe we would like to have you over and see what you could do. Because every other agent calls them and is rude or aggressive or just wants the listing. And what you did is you positioned yourself in as an agent that wants to work with them, is willing to work with them, wants to help. You were nice. You asked for permission to call them back. You smiled a lot. You were very flat, you used flattery. So they've got nothing but respect for you.
Great question, Jack. Does that help? All right, folks, what else? Who else has questions? Come on. This is your chance to talk to Real Estate Rockstar here. 53 closings last year, and he's here to pouring into you. Let's go. What's on your mind?
And if there's nothing else, we can get to the money shot here.
Let's get into it, man. I love to hear you make some for sale by owner calls. As a matter of fact, right down the street from me, I'm at one of my Airbnbs, and there's a for sale by owner. I'm almost tempted to run down the street and get a phone number and come right back to use the script with you. Actually, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because I can listen to this replay. I'm gonna run down the street, get the phone number. You make the call. I'm gonna make a call.
Can I forgot to say one thing here, and this is important. Then I'm going to get to the calls. This question here, where hey, I guess the follow-up question I have for you is just so that I can speak with knowledge on your home, 20 buyers I'm working with. Would you be offended if I scheduled an appointment to pop by and have a quick look at the home? One other thing that for sale by owners like to do is open houses. And this, you can just tweak that question a little bit. Hey, Tom, I appreciate that. I guess the follow-up question I have for you is this. I see that you're doing the open house this Saturday from 2 to 4, just so that I can speak with knowledge on your home to any buyers I'm working with or agents in my office that have buyers. Would you be offended if I pop by during the open house just to have a quick look at the home? 100% of the time. Hey, I'm here from 2 to 4 anyway, Scott, come on by. So I actually prioritize open houses because they are great to go through. The only downside to the open house is you want to try and get there 10 minutes early, because it never fails. You get in there and then 2 or 3 other people come and you can't have that one-on-one. That's the only downside to the open house, but just tweak that question a little bit, for the open house. Okay, so I have several properties up on my screen here, and I'm lucky in my market. The next question everybody's going to ask me is, where do you find your for sale by owners? Every market is different. I have a really great for sale by owner website in my market. You might have to use Zillow or whatever the case may be. But this is my website. It gives me the address. I get pictures, I get square footages, I get a name.
We don't see your screen, Scott.
Sorry?
We still see your slideshow, not the map or anything.
Yeah, we're seeing the script.
Oh, okay. I think I have to, sorry.
You have to stop sharing, then start sharing.
Oops. Oh, okay.
This is great, Scott. Thank you.
Yeah, this is awesome stuff.
Okay, now can you see this house?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a website here. It gives me the house, gives me some pictures. I have a name, I have a number, it's basically like again, your Zillow listings probably are the same. One thing that I do, so I've already got these sorted. One thing I do is I quickly go to my MLS and make sure it's not listed with another agent. And just so I could see some sort of history. I want to see if maybe it's an expired and now they've gone for sale by owner, or whatever the case may be. But I do just a little bit of history on this home. So I'm going to put my phone on speakerphone and I'm just going to call Leo. My heart's racing. You guys can hear this? Okay, that one went to voicemail. Let's try this one here. So this person has their house for sale for 460,000. The MLS shows that they just bought it last year for 420, and it hasn't gone up that much in price. So let's call and find out what's going on here.
Hello?
Hi, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Scott Ziegler here with eXp Realty calling about your house on Marlatt Street. Is it still for sale?
It is.
Hey, question for you. Would you be open to the possibility of paying a buyer's commission if we refer a buyer to you?
What does that mean?
Well, basically, if we came by your house with a buyer and they were interested in buying it, would you be willing to work with an agent, representing the buyer? I mean, obviously, I know that your home is for sale by owner right now. But if we were to bring a buyer to you, would you be willing to work with an agent?
Sure.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. I guess the follow-up question that I have for you is just so that I could speak with knowledge on your home to any buyers I'm working with, or even agents in my office that have buyers. Would you be offended if I were to schedule an appointment with you to pop by and just have a quick look at your home?
No.
Okay, appreciate that. What type of schedule do you typically keep, Jennifer? Are you a 9 to 5er, or do you ever have any time during the day, or what type of schedule do you have?
4:30, but I do get the odd Friday off. Actually, this Friday I have a day off, but I do have some things going in the morning.
Okay.
But yeah, weekends are usually better just because I'm mostly Monday to Friday. Right?
Sure, that makes sense to me. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't I touch base with you again closer to the weekend, and maybe sometime on Saturday we can find a time that works. I have to be in your area actually anyways on Saturday, so that might work out well.
Sure.
Okay,
Okay.
and I don't want to take up too much more of your time, Jennifer, but when you guys sell this house, where are you headed to next?
Unfortunately, the reason we're selling is due to a dissolution of a relationship.
Okay,
So
okay.
we're change
Okay.
after that.
Okay.
So we're purchasing on that end.
No problem. Okay, sorry to hear that. And then, so what's sort of the timeline? So I guess sort of as soon as possible on the sale, or?
Yeah, so we actually had a picture back in October and it didn't sell.
Okay,
So that's why I've gone the private route.
okay. That surprises me, actually.
We had a couple people come through, but nobody bought. They
Hmm.
think interest rates, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'll have to have a look at the system and see, maybe there was something missing on the marketing side or something, but before I come and see it, I'll do a bit of research and see if I can see something on the back end there.
sure. And we've only been in the house, it'll just be 2 years in March. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with the house.
Right.
So,
And I guess that was going to be my next question as to the price, how you arrived at the price. And so that must be similar to the price that the agent had on it.
yeah, so we just dropped it by about $5 grand
Okay.
from the agent listing. So I know that that's sort of right in the sweet spot right now, and there's nothing over in Evergreen
Right.
that isn't in this section. So
Okay. No, that makes sense to me. Okay, well, that sounds good. I won't take up any more of your time. As soon as we get off the call here in a few minutes, Jennifer, I'm just going to send you a quick text with my name and my contact information, just so that you have it. And then I usually just drop in my Linktree link. So if you ever, I always joke, if you want to make sure I'm legit, you can check out my Linktree. You can watch my videos, that kind of stuff. But and then maybe what I'll do is I'll maybe text you Friday afternoon, Friday evening, see what your Saturday is like. And like I said, I got to be over there anyway, so I can accommodate your schedule.
yep, awesome. Okay, thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Jennifer. See ya. All right. Any questions?
Nice.
Give that man a hand.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. You nailed it.
Nice.
All right.
She opened up so much. After like your third question, she just opened up more to you. You could tell that she got comfortable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Questions
Yeah,
for Scott, comments. I love it.
Yeah, that was awesome. Just your approach, you connected right away and just kept on asking questions to open it up.
I
Yeah,
love it.
and that's, that I would honestly say that is a very typical phone call. Like I wasn't pushy. I just, just asked the questions. Hey, do you mind if I have a look at it? She told me what was going. They always do. They always tell you why. And they rarely keep, their cards to their chest. And again, I will say that one was maybe on the easier side, but that's a very typical call for anybody that's ever told you, hey, those for sale by owners are nasty. They're going to tell you to F off the odd time, maybe. And they don't tell you to F off. They can be gruff. But that's a very typical phone call.
That's awesome.
So what I'm going to do now, just for your information, is I don't know if you all have this, but if you don't, you should have a link tree link. All your social media, you shouldn't have. The only link you should have in there is your link tree, which then I'm sure you guys all know what a link tree is, but just give me one sec here. So my link tree, and let's see if this will come up on the screen. It has all my social media sites, my blog, my YouTube channel. Yeah, there we go. It's the stop shop. I mean, they can
Yeah, I love it.
So what I do is I'll text her now and I'll be like, hey, Jennifer, thanks for speaking with me on the phone. I'll touch base with you Friday afternoon to schedule something for Saturday. Here's my link tree if you want to get a bit more information on me. And my hope is that she will watch some of my videos, check out my channel. And by the time I get there, she'll know who I am. And she'll be like, oh, I like this guy. Those videos were good. And I've already built rapport, and again, little off topic, but that link tree, anytime you talk to somebody, you should be sending them, a text. Oh, by the way, here's my link tree if you want more information. When you go to a listing presentation, wouldn't it be nice not to have to explain who you are and what you do? They're like, hey, that's Carlin. I know her. I watched her videos. I went to her blog. I like her. So that's the power of sending that stuff out in advance.
Love it. All right, man. So I ran 9 houses down and back. I have a telephone number. I'm gonna call Scott. You coach me through this. Ready?
Do it.
All right, man. Let's see. Let me call.
Do you want me to put the script up at all?
Please put the script up.
Can you see it?
Not yet. You haven't shared it yet.
Okay, hold on one sec.
And then, if I get to the
I
next
see.
if I get to the next step, then you're gonna fast forward the page to me, right?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
fast forward, advance the page for me.
You can see that?
Yep, very clearly. Here we go. I'm hitting dial. No time like the present, baby. Hello, this is Eric. Hi, Eric. It's Tom Truong with eXp Realty calling. I'm calling about the house you have for sale on Iowa Street. Is that still available? It is still available. Awesome. Question for you. Would you be open to the possibility of paying a buyer's agent commission, a real estate agent's commission, if we were to refer a buyer to you?
I don't know. Huh? Tell me what that would mean.
Yeah, so typically, typically most agents, if they were to list your home, I think in this market, in the Worcester market, that would be about 5% commission, where the agent lists it, does all the marketing, spends the time to find buyers, does open houses, do the contract paperwork and all that stuff. And I would be representing the buyer in this scenario. And usually when a listing agent lists, they'll ask you for about 5% in this market. They'll offer out 2.5% to the buyer's agent, and they would keep 2.5% for their office, which they split again. So, I guess before I even talk about commission, that's typically what that looks like, is about, I would just earn about half of the percentage, which is because I'm going to bring a buyer to you.
Right. So, I mean, I guess for me, it all depends on what the amount is.
Yeah.
So if the buyer wants to offer a lot less than the going rate because I'm selling it by owner, then that's a different scenario. So.
Understood. Yeah, of course, we want you to get the price that you wanted. So is it possible for me to schedule an appointment to pop by and have a quick look at your home?
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. So what type of schedule do you keep? Do you work 9 to 5? Do you have some time during the day that I could pop by for a quick 10 minutes? What's that look like?
I can be flexible. Yep, I can be flexible.
You can be flexible. All right. Well, I happen to be in the area tomorrow, anyhow, at around noon to like 2 o'clock. Are you available then?
I could be at noon. I could be at 1.
All right. So why don't I hold on. Let me just verify one more time my schedule here that I can be here by noon. Yeah, man, I'm good. So noon, I will be there. And I got another question for you. How did you arrive at the price that you set on the home? And what is it that anyhow that you're asking for it?
Gives me like what it's worth.
I see.
Right.
Okay, cool.
So I'll go with them, yeah.
All right. So what prompted you to make the decision to sell it privately? Did you have a bad experience with a real estate agent in the past, or is it simply dollars and cents?
It's simply dollars and cents, and if it doesn't go anywhere at this point, then I might look to get an agent.
Gotcha. Okay. So I think you sort of answered my last question. So I don't want to step on any agent's toes, man, because you said you got some information about other agents. So if you were go to list a home, if you decided to find an agent, would you do you have one that you have in mind, or would I be able to interview for that spot?
They can go that, run this course, and we'll see.
Gotcha, man. All right, that's good. I don't want to step on toes, but I'm also competitive, man. So I'll show you exactly what I can do to help you get your house, earn my commission, and still deliver the value that you want at the end of the day. All right, I'll see you tomorrow at noon.
All right, see you tomorrow at noon.
Thanks, Eric. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Come on, baby, come on.
Yeah.
That was
Good
ballsy.
job, Tom. That was
That was
awesome.
ballsy. I like that.
Okay then.
Awesome. Get it. He's a little bit more aggressive than Scott.
Yeah. No, that was ballsy, Tom. You didn't have you were trying to read the script and make it your own. That was good. I'm proud of you. That was a good.
I was
that was a
waiting
good
for you
call.
to advance the script. I thought there was another few more questions they need to ask, but I said, hell with it. I'm going to see you tomorrow.
Yeah. No, that was it. Once you ask them the you know, just the qualifying questions, you already had a time. It was see you tomorrow.
Man, I can do this all day long.
It's easy. So here's one reason why this. So it's powerful because I mean, Tom just proved it. People are open. Tom wasn't. All Tom said was, "Hey, if I can help you, can I help you?" Sure. Now it's a multi-step process. Now, Tom, you might be able to go over there and close them, but primarily you do the preview. Then you have the next day follow-up thank you call. And then you know 2 weeks later you're looking to set the appointment. Like most people want to make a phone call, get a listing appointment, go over tomorrow, sign the paperwork. That's where you'll get tripped up with the for sale by owner. You have to build a little bit of rapport.
I love it. I love it. All
And
right,
if
guys.
you do that well, you'll get them every time.
Thank you for that coaching, Scott. I love it. I love it. I love it. And by the way, I've done this before, man. You know, when I first started in the business 17 years ago, I was a script man. I had all my scripts in front of me and I just followed the script. So for you guys who are listening and watching, did you see that I stayed to the script? And this is the first time I've seen Scott's script.
You did amazing.
What is that?
I said you did amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, what other questions do you guys have? Or do you want Scott to make one more phone call and then we'll be done? We only have 9 minutes left of this session. No more phone call. We're 100%. We're 2 for 2. Let's leave it at that. All right, guys. How about open up your mic and asking any last questions or give Scott some love and thank him for everything he's done for us.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Awesomeness. Thanks, Scott.
Scott, that was amazing. Thank you.
Awesome, Scott.
Here's my question for you in the chat, or open up your mic or give me a thumbs up or something. Who has increased their confidence level as a result of the last 50 minutes of training? Nikki, thank you. Scott, Jack, Carlin, Tony, Marquina, Kevin Scott. I love it, right? Jessica Ortega, love it, right? Luz, I know you can do it, right? Guys, what's the worst that can happen?
They say no.
Nothing. No, ain't worse either, but
That's right.
means later to me.
No means next opportunity. Look at the next telephone number and make the next phone call. No is next opportunity.
I just want to add something, Tom. You didn't sound like you were really well rehearsed, like that didn't sound like a bad phone call by any means, but it made me realize that no matter, like, you don't have to be a perfectionist. Like, you don't have to know all the right words to say, but if you just, give it a little bit of effort, people will open up, and it's really not as bad as we think it is.
Can I speak to that for a second? We all get cold calls every day from put you on first page of Google, yellow pages, whatever. Those guys, the first thing they do when they take their first breath, as I always say to them, that's a pretty good script you got there. That's not a script. You can tell it's a script. So you have to just make it your own. And I just listened to a coaching trainer that talked about lowering the resistance of the prospect by not being polished. Hi Nicole, it's Scott here. I'm just wondering, would you be open to the possibility? Like, I mean, it's a little bit cautious, a little bit trepidatious, personable. You're not just, hi Nicole, it's Scott here. I was wondering if you would be open to the, that doesn't work. So what I would do is I would take the script, I would take a day and just go over it and over it. And this is the way I like it to sound, and make it yourself. And you can still read it, but once you know it, using your natural voice, your natural heart, your natural self will get you a lot farther than trying to just read a polished script.
Amen to that. Absolutely. And you know what? If they ask me, hey, Tom, is that a script? My immediate response, Scott, would be, man, you know how hard I've been practicing not to sound like a script? Why not? Have some humor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I need to work on it more. How am I going?
You did great.
And I said that right off the start. If they say something to you that sounds mean, you just roll with it. That's exactly what I would say too, Tom. Is it that obvious?
Right.
And then what I oftentimes do is I'll flip it on them. I'd say, is it that obvious? Well, listen, Tom, you got such a nice house here. I want to make sure I get this right because I think that it would be so valuable for our buyers, and I just wanted to make sure I get this opportunity to see it. Whatever, right?
Absolutely. You just gave me another idea. I use this when I'm recruiting agents. But if that for sale by owner said that to me, I'm like, you know what? I'm so glad you picked up on that, Scott. So if you were a real estate agent trying to get a listing, what would you say to me? If I were the seller and you were the agent, what would you tell me if you were the real estate agent? All right, guys. Hopefully this helps. Scott Ziegler, thank you so much for pouring into us. Scott is an icon agent. Scott, do you want to type in the chat your contact information in case folks want to give you a referral up in Saskatchewan, Canada? You want to reach out to Scott because he'll handle your clients. He'll service them like no other. There you go. He put it right in the chat. Okay. Guys, we've got 4 minutes left. We're going to call it quits for this session of Big Win Wednesday, I Conversation, I Teaching. In 4 minutes, let's call it 5 minutes, Mr. Jack McPartland, who's on the screen already, and I are going to pour into you and show you the EXP explained presentation for you on your behalf so you can learn how to present it. And maybe we have some guests on the call here already. We're going to take a 3-minute break. We're going to come back at the top of the half hour, and we're going to show EXP, the model, and why EXP is the fastest growing real estate brokerage in the United States, possibly in North America, and why agents are flocking to this model. All right, that goes for another 45, 50 minutes. Then we'll open up for Q&A. And the last portion, the third portion of Big Win Wednesday, is where we teach you how to build a revenue share organization. For our guests on the call, if you don't know what revenue share is, you'll get that explanation during our EXP Explained. And our EXP revenue share trainer tonight is no other than Daniel Eng out of Dallas, Texas. He's one of my guys, my rock stars there, and he's going to teach you how he went from 1 agent to 200 agents in the last 2 years. Okay, let's stop the recording here, Samantha.